Good morning, everybody. May the 14th, 2015. Time to look at today's market and assess what might happen. The news is pretty limited overnight. Stock markets sideways to higher, not much. FTSE was down a little bit. The Japanese stock market was off quite a bit. Everybody else pretty much motored sideways. We held pretty much yesterday's lows in the financials, and we have traded higher, and there's the high in London. That high in London is important because that's where the second biggest monetary operations in the world come from after hours. So we're in a trading range right now. You can see that yesterday's auction took place in the 12 area. The market actually sold. It rallied up off of that. It stopped at 12. You can see that the overnight session is stopped at 7.5. So we've got a seller 7 to 11 based on yesterday. That'll be sell 1. Then 15 to 19 will be sell 2. I do like the buy side because of today's lack of news today. The dollar is probably the biggest factor on lower financial prices, but the dollar got hit again basis the EU, and we held our own in the overnight market, so hopefully that's behind us. So we're at 3.5 right now. We came in last night wanting to buy 29s to 25s. I think that's still pretty good. The jobless claims number would be supportive for the economy. We're going to put a question mark by 1. The buy might be 29 to 01. So this area right in here will have a question mark, and then buy 2 will be, as it was last night, 21 to 17 in case the selling gets going. 30-year paper is tough to move. It's always easier to move paper with higher interest rates, and that might be the determinant. So we've got the dollar, what it's going to do today. We've got jobless claims at 275. We've got PPI at plus 1/10, ex-food and energy plus 2/10, natural gas inventories at plus 112 that only the natural gas traders will pay attention to. So the news is somewhat limited. Germany's, France's, and Switzerland's banks are closed today, which will actually decrease some liquidity and some depth in the market. So I like it today because they can't really smash the market and move the 3-year paper, and we've had really, really good auctions so far this week. Hadn't stopped the market from selling, and that selling, normally the market would be up and out of here. But the dollar weakness has certainly been a factor. Okay, looking at the 30-year, London stopped on that last rotate up in K period, which was the last attempt to trade higher after we broke in G and H period. We've got pretty good buying at 52.05, and we came in last night wanting to buy the 01 to 05 area. So that's probably a stretch. Leaning against the bottom of value 5 to 9. We'll adjust it after the jobless claims by 1. And then 1 to 29 will be by 2. On the sell side, 27 to 31. That's where resistance is. And we had big swings yesterday after the auction. The next best resistance once we go through 153 is going to be in the 12 to 16 areas. So we'll make 11 to 15 sell 2. I know it's a stretch, but this is a big contract, and this thing moves a couple of points a day when it really gets going. So 153 is near resistance. If that holds, the market should come off a little bit. If we break through 153, I would say 153.16 is the next stop, given the volatility of this contract. looking at gold. Market's holding. Last night we left. We said the easiest sell to see was failure to break through the 1218 to 20 area. We're still in that situation right now, although we have made it up to 19. So sell one's going to be 20 plus or minus. Sell two is going to be 25. And the low volume number out of this whole array is up there at 2560, so that's where resistance is, just over 25. On the buy side, 10 to 12. That's where we were last night. Then 5 to 7. Again, looking at the news that comes out around the world, it's just hard for me to see retail accounts doing anything but buying. National governments are buying gold when they have extra loot, using that term loosely, of course. And so I think the support is out there just due to this insane central bank policy that we have right now. It's hard to see how this thing unwinds without a big correction in the stock market, and that would be best case. I mean, the other side is, what are you going to do? G20 going to do if we head into a recession? Well, the only thing they can do is print money. Interest rates are effectively at zero. And as long as all of them are printing money, it can survive. We can stumble through. But if one country turns out to be a safe haven and they don't print money, then we're in trouble. And ultimately, people, when pushed to the wire, will act in their own self-interest. And you might see Germany, Switzerland, Singapore. I don't know who it would be, but those would be the usual suspects. Okay, the euro has continued to rally. That means dollar weakness. We will look at the F1 screen to add some perspective. And we can see that this last rotate up was 115 even, 115 and a quarter, 1465, 1433, 14 and a quarter. So we're through this little area right here. So 1450, 1475 would be where you'd expect resistance. Some articles out on Greece wants a deal by the end of the month. So it looks like the can is being kicked. Why the end of the month? Because they will be in default the first part of June on their IMF loan. They took a new funds from the IMF to pay off what they needed to pay off. So everything's fine right now, but something has to come. And again, when it's all said and done, I believe that Greece will have to do what the European Union tells them to do. So our sell area is 50 to 75. And our buy area really is against the buck, so 1400, 1410, buy one. Breakout came from 85, 85, 75 will be buy two. Okay, crude oil, didn't see anything out of the Middle East that said things have changed. Saudi Arabia still apparently has not crossed the border into Yemen. And again, that is a huge step. It's not an easy situation to get out of. Once you go in, you're stuck. You lose a lot of control over what you can do. The initiative really goes into where the guerrillas or rebels or your opposing forces choose to attack you. So it's not an easy situation for a country to put themselves into. And Saudi Arabia has balked so far. They've tried everything. We are going to invade you, but we'll call a ceasefire for 5 days. And if you do what we say, we'll rebuild your country. It's just tough. Okay, 61 is resistance, and 6150 would be the next stop, and that would take you up into where all this volume was from the other day, like yesterday. On the buy side, leaning against 60 is makes sense. So 60, 60 and a quarters, buy one. 59.50, 59.75 is buy two, and that's just where the structure tells us support and resistance do lie. So we'll just do the obvious, lean against support and resistance. Okay, the E-mini is pointed higher. Japan stock market was off the most. FTSE was off a couple of ticks. The rest of the stock markets were sideways to higher. Our stock market is pointed higher too. So good news is bad news. Bad news is good news. The less than robust retail sales numbers. Yesterday's Atlanta Fed saying the second quarter is going to produce GDP growth of plus 0.7%, less than 1%. Means the Fed can't raise interest rates sooner. They'll have to do it later. The game is still the same. So I thought that I was pretty confident they would get stops above the overnight session high. We're moving that way. So the first sell is going to be 9 to 11. That's just where resistance is. Then 14 to 16 will be sell 2. And on the buy side, you gotta like 2100, 2102. And it may take a 4 or 5 to get off along. I don't know. As usual, we're a little suspect of the market at these levels because it's not trading up for the right reasons. It's trading up for the wrong reasons. The economy is weak. The Fed can't raise interest rates, buy stocks. But that doesn't keep us from trading from the long side either. It'll take about 20 minutes to get everything up and posted and around. I'm going to get busy on that. I will see you as soon as I can.